Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really critical debate that's happening inside Japan. It's so intense, actually, that it was recently staged as a formal debate with a judge and everything to see which side could make the stronger case. So let's walk through exactly how that played out.
Okay, so here's the big question at the heart of it all. Should Japan, a country known for its pacifist constitution, basically double its defense budget? We're talking about a jump to 2% of its GDP. Now, to put that in perspective, that would bring it in line with the NATO standard. This is a massive, massive shift, and you can bet it sparked a fierce conversation across the country.
All right, so first up, let's hear from the affirmative side. These are the folks arguing for this historic increase in military spending. Their whole argument really boils down to one idea: a stronger Japan is a safer Japan. Now, their case really stands on three main pillars. First, they say it's about building a stronger defense to deter any threats in the region. Second, it's about strengthening that all-important alliance with the United States. And third, they believe it could actually be a shot in the arm for Japan's own economy. The first point is probably their most urgent one. They're looking around their neighborhood, and frankly, they're saying it's getting a lot more dangerous. You've got China's military growing at an incredible rate, and you've got North Korea constantly testing missiles. So for them, a stronger defense isn't a choice anymore. It's an absolute necessity to prevent a potential attack. And this chart, wow, it really puts their concern into perspective. Just look at the staggering gap between what China is spending and what Japan is spending. Proponents of the increase will tell you that this isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. This is a serious military imbalance that they believe creates instability and, could even invite aggression. Their second big argument is all about partnership and responsibility. The thinking goes like this. For decades, Japan has relied really heavily on the U.S. for its security. Hitting that 2% spending target would be a clear signal that Japan is ready to pull its own weight and become a more equal, more capable partner in its most important alliance. Okay, but that's only half the story. Let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the debate. The opponents have some incredibly powerful counterarguments, and they warn that this whole move could come at a dangerously high price. Their case also centers on three core worries. First, the potentially crushing financial burden on the country. Second, the very real risk of kicking off a regional arms race. And third, the fear that this would mean turning away from Japan's long-held identity as a nation that champions peaceful diplomacy. So their first question is a pretty simple but profound one. Where is all this money going to come from? They argue that you can't just print it. It has to be paid for. And that probably means either raising taxes on citizens or making really painful cuts to social programs that people depend on, like healthcare and pensions. And yeah, to really get their point, you just have to look at this number. Japan's national debt is already more than 260% of its entire economic output. That's one of the highest ratios in the entire world. So they're asking, can a country already this deep in debt really afford to take on billions and billions more for defense? The second major fear is that this move won't create peace at all. It might do the exact opposite. Opponents warn that if Japan doubles its military budget, its neighbors will see that as a provocative, even threatening move. And that could kick off a dangerous cycle, an arms race where everyone keeps spending more and more, making the whole region more tense and making an accidental conflict way more likely. All right, so this is where it gets really fascinating, because the two sides don't just state their cases. They directly challenge each other's core beliefs, and that's where you see the real fireworks. So when you talk about the money, it really becomes a battle of priorities. Proponents say, look, national security is priority number one. We'll find the money. But opponents fire back. No, it's a direct trade-off. You can't have both. A yen spent on a missile is a yen that can't be spent on a hospital bed. And here we get to the philosophical heart of the whole thing. It's the classic question. Does a bigger military act as a shield, warning potential attackers to back off? Or does it act like a magnet, drawing suspicion and escalating tensions until even a small spark could set off a huge fire? So for the affirmative side, their crucial point is this quote right here. They believe that peace isn't maintained through hope or weakness. It's maintained by being so strong that any potential aggressor looks at the situation and concludes, nope, an attack is just not worth the price. What's really interesting is that they can't even agree on what this means for the alliance with the US. It's a total paradox, right? One side says more spending makes Japan a better, stronger partner. The other side worries that if Japan looks too self-sufficient, it might actually give the US an excuse to step back. So, with such powerful arguments on both sides, how in the world do you pick a winner? Well, in that formal debate we've been following, the judge had to do exactly that. So let's take a look at how they broke it all down. And the final verdict, it came down decisively. The judge declared the winner to be the side arguing for the increase in defense spending. Now, the judge was very clear that this wasn't about personal opinion. It was about the mechanics of the debate itself. They found that the affirmative side just made a more consistent case, used stronger evidence, like that hard data on military budgets, and they did a better job of poking holes in their opponent's arguments. So, while the formal debate might have had a clear winner, the real-world question is obviously far from settled, and it leaves us with this huge thought to chew on. Is building a bigger shield the only way to find security? Or does true, lasting peace come from trying to build a world where you don't need a shield in the first place? The answer to that is going to shape the future not just for Japan, but for all of us.